Let's begin here with Gray Zabel. You hoped you were going to get a guy in with a lot of snaps in college, albeit he had played at left tackle, who would be able to transition smoothly and easily into the left guard, got the Steve Hutchinson stamp of approval, and he has seemingly done everything you would have hoped of when you have drafted him. Within the state of realism, being that he has inserted himself into the starting lineup day one, and that may seem like a straightforward thing for a first-round pick to have happen, but let's just go look over like third-round pick Christian Haynes, who was all but earmarked to be given that starting right guard spot last year, and just was not able to take advantage of it. So it's not necessarily a no-brainer. That guy just goes right in there. A lot of times you could get there on day one after drafting a kid and you can look over another coach and you can be like, well, Bill, we missed it on that one, didn't we? Yes, we did. Yes, we certainly did. And it's going to get a rough road after that. I've heard coaches and players literally talk and evaluators literally talk about how quickly sometimes they can tell when they've gotten a pick wrong. And in Zabel, he's gotten right into the starting lineup. He's been the fit to what you thought he could be, with the mobility, with the power, just with some of his dexterity for the position in there, being able to sometimes correct and move his body around in ways to be able to, even if you get him kind of beat initially, he's got a course correction to get himself back under himself and stay in front of you as a blocker. And all of this was on wide display in the Raiders. Show you some, I got 10 actual cut-ups here of him. I'm going to show you, for many of you already seen a lot of the all 22 of him. So we're looking at him, but we're looking at a guy who can come in and give you almost not impact play, I think, from the jump here, but can give you really, really good play here from the jump. And he led the way with these guys in this first game. He's led the way kind of quietly, even though our eyes get kind of affixed on a couple of these other guys because of their super high upside. He's that steadying force in this draft class. And when you look at the PFF scores coming out of the game here from last week, let's look first at the offensive side of it. Good to see Abraham Lucas up at the top there with an 81.5. Eric Saubert, boy, was he steady in this game, and he made a hell of a catch on a really tough throw out away from his body. It wasn't deep down the field, but it was not easy. You could see he also brings the blocking element into play. You knew you were getting that, but then who is there at number 4? That's right, Gray Zabel in there at number 4. All around, well rated on the day with an 81.2 grade in his very first NFL action. Now, did he have a tremendous test in front of him? No, but as I said, the Raiders were basically running like their ones on defense right out the gate, including Max Crosby, who he had to deal with at one point in time. So don't just throw that 81.2 grade away like it's nothing. That steadying force aspect of it. I'm not talking about a dominator. I'm talking about a guy who's getting his job done every time, almost every rep. That's just getting it done. My guy's not getting past me. It may not be always the prettiest of reps, but I'm getting the job done and I'm keeping my quarterback protected. Gray Zabel is going to be the guy that we're going to concentrate here on these 10 reps. He is your left guard. So you want to be locking in here where I got my highlighter on this. And we're going to just go through a couple of these. And this film basically, I think, shows off all of what he sort of brings to play. The pass protection, the move in space, that dexterity to correct yourself when things go a little bit awry. You can see that, I think, all over on this tape. And so first you get a guy one gapping. What's one gapping? I'm trying to shoot and attack a single gap here, right? So the defensive tackle's on his outside shoulder, starting out in what would be a typical 3-tech kind of position. Then he's going to try to cross his face and shoot the gap. They're sort of anticipating this is an inside zone, I'm guessing, here to Holani and how they think this is going to go. And they catch him with more of a delay draw. But you can see here, first the quickness. You got the foot speed to stay with the 3-tech and then ride him out of the play. Beauty of this system is if you know your guy's going to run himself out of the play, you don't have to be dominant in the block. Just run him out. Give you guys one here. Just boom. You're gone. Nice little play for Holani. Right up that hole that was cleared out by that guy shooting the gap. It's also Carroll's defense is a little more gap shooting centric than ours is right now. At least that's been him historically speaking. Again here, left tackle, left guard. Kind of play it for you guys once here before I see him right here. Lined up to Josh Jones. You can see here, just stands his guy up. Holani's right past his back. Is he moving him 5 yards out of space? No. He's just shielding him out of the way of the play. Doesn't go for more at this point, but he's done his job as far as this is concerned. And the hands, good base. Hands get a little wide at first, but this is the help. Josh Jones is kind of clearing them. There's Josh Jones on his left there. It makes it hard for I'm kind of surprised the official didn't quite see it. I think the official probably feels like he got his hands a little closer in there. But it's not egregious outside, but that's right on the line. Still, good base with his feet. Locks it in there. Not a bad rep. You get away with it, it's a beautiful rep. That's how that goes. Exactly how that goes. Again, left guard here, 76. Just another gap shooting. Like I said, this is kind of Carroll's defense. He wants a little bit more of the TFLs from his defensive linemen at times. So he'll let those guys run a little bit free and wild. But the feet to stay with this all the way through. I know he collapsed at the end. That's part of that. Like, it won't always have to look, it's not always going to look pretty, but it's going to be right. The guy is no threat on this play. Other people give up pressure here, but he gets his guy down on a knee. You get your guy down on a knee in pass protection, that's a dominant rep. That's a pancake block for pass pro to me. So both of these first couple reps, you see the movement there. A little bit of the base and power. Again, the base and power here on this rep. And this is on the interception, which we're going to talk about in a second with Torrey Horton. But right in there again, hands a little bit wide. It's on the line. Officials will, depends on the officiating crew you're dealing with, who let him get away with it, who don't. But they're letting him with where he's at, and it is on the line. And again, the good base. He's done this at the combine too, where he's got that move down as a left guard, where you can have him right here, and okay, he's at the end of his base, which is what I call it. You know, he's at the end of his base, meaning he's lost basically almost all of his base by how it feels. Fully on the front foot, guys getting into him, and you see him getting twisted back a little bit, and he sort of finds this like magical little 10% extra strength to kind of relock the block in. He was doing this on the Senior Bowl reps a lot. So boom, 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 and then watch him get backed right there, and then he can kind of just root in. He just roots right in at that point, gives him like that last little vestige, a little bit of that percentage point there, you know, where you're down to the 2%, and then suddenly you hit the med button, and it gives you that little, but it's not a full medi. It's a 10% medi, so it's only giving you 10% on it, but it's that 10% is just enough. Yeah, stand right there. Gotcha. Another nice rep. Why do you get this good grade? When do the grades sometimes, for all the people who want to beat on PFF, when do sometimes the grades actually match up to what you get to see on the tape? Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. But is it getting better all the time? And do more often than not, when I'm watching the tape, the grades basically align to, for the most part, what I see. It certainly tends to be less egregious than sometimes how people will often talk about it. There are mistakes that are made, no doubt. You can't know every play, no doubt. But sometimes it does align up well. Left guard here. Hands again. Gets a little bit high to the outside, but corrects it back in good. And he's good right there. Doesn't let his hand slip to the head. Stays at the chest. Sundell's looking for somebody to help. Bradford's handling his man. Zabel's handling his guy. It's a nice clean pocket for Drew Lock right there. And Sundell eventually comes over and helps, but Zabel don't need it. He's got it. That defensive lineman's just looking for when the opportunity he's going to get to try to jump, knock the ball down. Good active feet. See those feet just keep correcting, keep standing there. An offensive lineman would be like, it's not a perfect rep. He could do this or he could do that. But he gets it done. Here we go again. Left guard for you here. It's kind of hard to see because he's right on that, right in the foul pole with these all 22 angles. Sometimes they're not the best on that. But he gets off the line, gets a little bit of help, doesn't really need it. Jones doesn't really do much to help him, quite frankly. Jones is kind of like, you got this, man. I'm going to go over here. No, you got this handled. Strong base, active feet. You can feel that nice torqued up power there. See as he's settling in, just, you're not getting anywhere else. That's like that country strong stuff. That Midwestern country strong. Is that where that comes from? Maybe. Gets a little high here at the end. But that's as much the rip move. So I don't think the official is going to cause this because the defender's creating it with the rip. He's up there already, but then the defender kind of does him a favor with the rip because then to the official, is it, by the time you get up into here, is it see how the defender's arm comes up on the rip? Is it the rip? Is the defender pulling the guy's arm to him at that point? Or is the offensive lineman holding him? Again, on that line, I mean, is it on the line? Yeah. Is it savviness? Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that too. Got him over here on the left side of your screen there. Movement on the run here. This is going to be more, I think, akin to to a little bit of a closer, this is going to be more of a reach block. So reach block is where you don't have a guy right in front of you. You can see my cursor on the screen here. There's nobody in front of you. So you've got to get lateral way out over here into space, hit that block, heads up, keep your feet moving with the block, and try to keep it controlled. It's not always as much about getting the man moved down the football field, but it's a very tough block to sustain because you're going to be late to it, right? That defensive lineman, if he gets upfield, knowing the way that Raiders wanted, hit that shooting of the gaps I just talked about, like a Carroll defense, and instead the defender kind of does him a favor here by taking sort of a lateral step to the left there, a false lateral step to the left, got him caught out of position here on this play a bit. But knowing that, you've got to it's still a really tough block to get over to for an offensive lineman. It requires linemen that have mobility to hit these blocks. You're just a big can of dirt, like that just sits there and just sort of takes on big men and hopefully you can keep him in front of you. You're not getting to this block over here. That's a good couple yards away, or at least a yard and a half away. Gets to the block. Notice too some of the detail-driven nature stuff of Kubiak's system. 74 is there to help with the controlling factor. Control. Let's make sure my guy Zabel can catch up. If the defensive tackle shoots out to 74's left shoulder, Zabel very well could then be picking up the linebacker. This is the zone feel of this. This isn't necessarily always going to be constructed every play where it plays out this way, where part of the reason that 74 ends up engaging this block is because that left step there. See that left step? Left. I'm talking about the defensive lineman, by the way. So the defensive lineman right in front of Zabel. Look at that left step. That's what then brings it back, I think, into Jones. That brings it into Jones to where he's got to make sure he's got his guy controlled, and then he's going to go to the second level. And if it's more of that guy shoots out outside of Jones's left shoulder, now he's able by the zone scheme, block to space, not to man, you're going to now go look for the linebacker in the second level. But because it plays out this way, and it's not just as simple as this, of course, because still 74 is not here to block him. He just kind of holds that guy up. You get into him, I'll get down to the second level, and we can create an alleyway, which you almost do. And you can see here, Arroyo just can't get his guy widen out quite enough. Kind of gets hold. I think there's a hold on this play by Arroyo. See, he kind of hooks him up at the end there and loses the block. But a nice little block and also a nice little kind of example from Kubiak's system here of some of the little detail-driven stuff you're going to get in the run game. It's very intricate, this run game. Guys got to read things a little bit more lively. Old school, back in 2005, Walter Jones, he's lined up, head up over a defensive end. That's who he's handling and taking care of all day long. He's not thinking about doing much else. He might pull a couple times on the day this way or that way, but for the most part, he's getting after it. Very straightforward fashion. It's just not quite the same now. Got to be a little bit more intricate. Zabel here in pass pro. Nice throw and catch here to Arroyo. And we got left guard here again. Handles him well. And ends up dumping 2 for 1 right at the end there. Gets a 2 for 1 dump. He must have had his brand muffin this morning. I'm just kidding. It's a good rep. You always love it when you can 2 for 1 and you can get a third down conversion. Lock with a nice throw, by the way, here, and not a little bit of a bad route there by Arroyo. Like him catching the ball out away from his body like that. 2 more reps here for Zabel. Inside, get back over to the reach block. This play doesn't go anywhere because Olani ends up tripping. But again, still technically a reach block for the most part here where the guy's almost heads up in almost a nose tackle roll here. And Zabel's got to get down to him. And then he's sort of shooting a gap a bit here. So again, it's a tough catch for Zabel. But Sundle's doing a little bit of a similar thing to what you saw Jones do on this play. And this is one of those little detail parts that's so important, but so hard to see at times. And this is the part where people could get mad at a PFF and going, well, that's how it's hard for you to grade them on this, because what if you have this play where the center is supposed to help take out that defensive tackle for one step like this? Help. See that help there by Sundle? As I pause it, and then Zabel's on him, and then he gets to the next level. So what happens when that guy just completely flubs his block, climbs the second level, knocks out his guy at the second level, but then Zabel doesn't have that one little half step to catch back up on the reach block? That's the part where it's like, well, that's the fair criticism. But it's a nice block on his part. It's, again, I wouldn't call this letter picture perfect, but he's just got that kind of tenacity and sort of grit to him where it's going to find a way to get the block done. The guy doesn't get turned back and sort of, I don't know what they're doing arm in arm here. Dose, round and round, here we go. Do-si-do, do-di-do. Round and round, here we go. Do-si-do-do-do-do-do. That's a weird rep. Both of them with their back turned and Hololani on his knees. But not a bad rep on his part. He didn't mess it up. Hololani just couldn't keep his feet. Hololani was just like, I'm busting these guys up too hard. I gotta give them a little bit back here. I'm costing guys their NFL livelihood here. Last rep here for the old Zabel Express. Choo-choo, as I like to call him. What's your name? Choo-choo. I hit people there. Knock out like a train hit him. Choo-choo. Nice stand-up rep here. Again, he's got help on his right, but he literally like halfway into this rep, he's like, nah, Jalen, I got this. I got this, man. Nah, he's mine. I'm good. Go over there. Look at Anthony. You know Anthony needs help. What are you doing? Go over to Anthony. I'm all right, dog. I'm good. No, I'm going to help you a little bit. Oh, man. I was doing so good. And then look at this catch by Saubert. Whoa. Why do people like Locke so much at times? Because that arm, just that hose, that wonderful hose. It's glorious. Tight little window. Great catch by Saubert.